Hello and welcome back to the Snakebite. We're here with a ton of spring sports action. Basketball is continuing to roll through conference play. Track, obviously, is doing great, and we have so much more here on the Snakebite. Let's roll the intro. Defense wins championships, but offense sells tickets. And this past week, the Mocs faithful showed up for two games that could be the turning point in the men's basketball team's season. The receiving votes men's basketball team started the week looking to avenge their humiliating loss down in Boca Raton earlier this season, and man, did they. The Tides have really changed after a stretch of close wins and unexpected losses to start the new year. The Mocs found it early thanks to 𝙏𝙃𝙀 𝙎𝙉𝘼, who came out blazing, which might still be an understatement. 𝙎𝙉 opened up the historic night with a three-pointer just 12 seconds in, followed by five more threes in the next 5 minutes, with this four-point play capping it all off. The Mocs jumped on the Fighting Knights early, attacking the zone with quick looks from behind the arc and the baseline before things began to slow. Thankfully, the greatest Kiwi and only Kiwi in Florida Southern basketball history, Charlie Dalton of New Zealand, showed why he is the only Moc to start every single game this season. Dalton orchestrated the offense from the high post, scoring, dishing, and of course, rebounding the ball. With his contributions, the Mocs sprinted to half with a commanding 55-41 lead that they held on to the very end of the game. But the Mocs did more than just win. They made history, and specifically, the Kiwi I mentioned earlier made the most history in securing the 6th triple-double in school history and the first in over 5 years. This is also the first triple-double by a foreign-born player in Florida Southern history, and of course, you know I had to talk to him after.
Charlie, you're the first foreign-born player with a triple-double in Florida Southern history, the first one in 5 years. What was going for you tonight?
You know, they're in a zone, and I got such good shooters and such good playmakers around me, so when I got that ball in the high post, I was just finding the open man, and they did the rest.
The big factor in this one was definitely the Brady Bunch, the 𝙏𝙃𝙀 𝙎𝙉𝘼 fan club, whatever you want to call them. How much of an impact was that on the game today?
Oh, it was huge. The crowd was absolutely awesome. They are day in, day out. But these kids, I mean, they're a 𝙏𝙃𝙀 𝙎𝙉𝘼 fan. He lit it up to start the game, and that set the tone for the rest of the game. So I appreciate everyone.
Thank you, Charlie. Back to you, Jim.
Hey, shout out to the fan.
Asher, the Mocs kept the ink wet in the record book, and they did it in an unorthodox way.
Yeah, there was history in this game that no one could have predicted. In the matchup against St. Leo, the Mocs faced the Lions, who played without their starting five due to disciplinary actions by the coaching staff, but the bench played arguably the best game all season for the Lions, lighting it up from three. To start the game, the Lions couldn't miss, the Mocs couldn't buy a bucket, and threes rained down from everywhere for players in some of their first real minutes of the season. Luckily for the Mocs, Elijah Walsh stepped up big, providing major buckets and stops for the Mocs throughout the first half to help them climb back into the game and find themselves even at 42 going into the half. When the second half began, so did 𝙎𝙉𝙀's resurgence against his former team as he found some big shots to fall down the stretch to pair with a quick 9 points by Amari Miller to start the second half. The game closed with transfers taking over for the Mocs, with Spencer Shomers, Jasir Trimble, Khalil Ross, 𝙎𝙀, and Walsh staying in the final 7 minutes of the game, getting huge stops and huge buckets. Despite Walsh surpassing the 20 points mark on the men's team, they had one guy that they thought deserved the post-game interview this time, Spencer Shomers.
I'm here with Spencer Shomers. Spencer, you had some huge minutes to close out that game and secure the dub. Talk about what went for you today.
I'm sorry, what was that last part?
A huge game today. You had huge minutes. Talk about what went for you in that last bit.
Yeah, came in after struggling in the first half. Just had to mentally prepare to go back in the second half and be ready. My teammates never doubted me. I was able to get a couple shots to go in, and that, just rolled it from there.
Brady, obviously coming from St. Leo, talk about what getting a season sweep for him is like.
Man, it's gotta be sweet for him. He knows a couple of those guys, and just probably a good bittersweet moment for him.
Thank you, Spencer. Back to you, Jim.
And after that game, number 8 PBA fell to Barry, a team that the Mocs beat earlier this year and that PBA also beat earlier in the season. This loss opened things up for the Mocs with the number 8 team in the country in Palm Beach Atlantic stumbling now after their loss to Nova Southeastern. This has tied them and Florida Southern for that number 2 seed in the SSC tournament. Good news for the Mocs and their fans. Florida Southern, they have this weekend off. They have a ton of time to watch film, and then they head down to West Palm Beach, where they have a chance to not only claim second place, but be able to really be the captain of their ship and decide what the rest of the season will hold.
The women's basketball team is back on track with their last 2 conference matchups. Last Saturday, the Mocs were back in the George Jenkins Fieldhouse to face the Fighting Knights of Lynn University. The Mocs started the game dominating in the paint, with 𝙏𝙃𝙀 𝙎𝙉𝘼𝙆𝙀 starting out hot, racking up multiple buckets in the first quarter of play. Within the second quarter, the Mocs were excelling on both sides of the ball, holding Lynn to just 20 points in the half while tallying 38 points of their own, making multiple three-pointers to assert dominance beyond the arch. The third quarter followed suit, with the Mocs keeping their foot on the gas and their leader, Sydney Gomes, getting in rhythm. As the fourth quarter of action ensued, 𝙏𝙃𝙀 𝙎𝙉𝘼𝙆 continued to dominate, scoring a career high of 14 points to finish out the contest. However, 𝙏𝙃𝙀 wasn't the only one with a strong performance, with Sydney Gomes posting a double-double of 13 points and 13 rebounds, and Gianna Voss adding heavily to the scoring, posting of 14 points of her own. Carl had a chance to talk to Voss post-game. Let's hear it from the Mocs lockdown defender.
G, 14 points tonight. We talked preseason. I said, I think you're someone that can average double digits. Over the last 5, you are. Talk about your offensive growth this year.
Yeah, I mean, I really think the team has helped me a lot. They put me in positions where they know I can be successful. The coaches as well. I just feel like I'm always placed in areas where I know that I can help the team.
And you've played a ton of minutes. You're top 10 in the conference in minutes per game. Talk about the effort that goes in to stay on the floor that long.
I mean, just doing whatever the team needs, whether that's defensively or offensively, obviously that plays a part in it. And then just keeping myself healthy, keeping myself in shape to be able to be in the areas where the team needs me.
Thank you, G. Back to you, Jen.
In the following game, the Mocs had a chance to make history in their 103rd game against St. Leo, as the Mocs entered the matchup with 89 total wins against the program, the most against a single team in program history. The Mocs started the game off against the young, scrappy Lions, who really did a good job of making every single shot fall, whether it was good or bad. It didn't matter, and it helped them get to a 10-point lead just 4 minutes into the game. Thankfully for the Mocs, Sydney Gomes and Lily Pereira are really, really good players, and Gomes and Pereira lit it up on the back end of the first and entire second quarter, combining for 34 of the Mocs' 54 first-half points. Oh, by the way, after entering the second quarter up 23-22, the Lions finished the first half with just 36 points. That means 13 in the second. The second half saw the continued dominance for the Mocs, with Sydney Gomes playing to the bitter end in search of another triple-double, but no interview with her because they fell just short. She was stuck at 8 assists for the last 6 minutes. Lily Pereira notched another 20-point game on the season and her second in her career against St. Leo this year, en route to setting a new career high of 26 points that she paired with 5 rebounds and 4 assists. Not too shabby, so you know I had to talk to her post-game.
Lily, Sid almost got the triple-double, but you're the one that got the career high, so talk about what was going for you tonight.
Yeah, I think just the fact that we were able to share the basketball so well and just see people, see the cuts, see what the defense was giving us. We saw that they were really overcrowding some people, and that left a lot of people open, and so we just took advantage of that.
And a huge win today. Everyone was able to eat, like you mentioned. What does that do for your guys' confidence heading into the next few games?
For sure. We know that when we win because we share the ball. So I think that just reinforces what we know to be true, and just to take that into the next games that we have coming up.
Thank you, Lily. Back to you, Jen.
Pereira wasn't the only Lily to have success in that one. One more Lily made a big impact, Lily Rangard. She had 15 points and was plus 30 in her minutes, the best mark of anyone in that game. And just like the men, the Mocs will head to PBA in a little bit less of a heightened intensity for the matchup, as they've already been in PBA pretty handily earlier this season, but it's a chance to continue to get closer to that top 3 seed they really want. That gives them a real shot to be able to host some SSC tournament games after missing it last year.
The Mocs were truly thrown into the deep end with a sink or swim test ahead of them. Face Nova, Barry, and Lynn University in less than a 24-hour span. The men went 2-1 during the weekend of dual meets, while the women went 1-2. The biggest win for both sides was against Barry University, where both squads outscored the Buccaneers by over 100 points. In the wins for the men, their relay team shined with a first-place finish in the 200-yard medley. Individually, Peter 𝙃𝙀𝙀 was selected as the SSC Men's Swimmer of the Week for both his team efforts and individual wins during the dual meet. 𝙏𝙃𝙀 contributed to a third-place relay finish and individual wins in the 500 free against both Lynn and Nova, as well as the 1,000 free against Lynn. On the women's side, they were joined in the pool by the University of Miami Hurricanes, who swam without team scores. Their lone win was highlighted by Zoe Celli and Gabrielle Goodwin, who placed second in the 100-yard backstroke and 500-yard free, respectively. The Mocs will now prepare for the Sunshine State Conference Championships that start on February 11th.
And you know I had to save the best for last, and the most underrated teams on campus, the track teams, continue to put out historic performances through the early portion of the indoor season. For the second week in a row, the Mocs track team has claimed multiple program records. Last week, it was sophomore Andrew Nyland who cemented his name in the record books for his performance in the 1K. This week for the men, it's Anthony Matthew. He ran the 800 where he claimed his first dub and school record of the new year in indoor after claiming the 3K last year as he ran 1:52:35 in the 800 distance. Earlier in the competition, Matthew also found second place in the mile where he dipped under the national provisional time with his 4:07:38 mile. Additionally, the men had two other podium finishes during the ACSEC Invitational, including Chris Colavita and Eli Zupa coming in first and second in the 3K. And don't worry, the record kept on rolling from there as Grace Reed shattered the previous 3K program record, running 9:51.8 and becoming the first Moc sub 10 minutes in the 3K indoors. Emma Pfeiffer, of course, also showed out as she saw action in the 3K, placing second in the second heat and claiming the 7th best time in program history. Nika Givden was also staying busy after her program record-setting 1K the week prior, where she had another strong showing, running the 3rd best time in school history with a 2:22.2 800 meter. Last but certainly not least in the 5K was Rachel Hockenberry, who placed 9th overall, clocking in at 18:12, the 6th best time in program history. So after all that unprecedented amount of season success already in early January, just 1 week, they'll go back to Gainesville for another chance at the Legends of Alachua County Invitational starting tomorrow. Of course, Emma Pfeiffer will be in that one, but so we'll have runners like Anthony Matthew and a whole lot more. Watch out for some more records. And that will do it for this week's edition of the Snakebite. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure to stay glued to FSCMocs.com and, of course, our YouTube channel. We got you covered here on the Snakebite.